All right, welcome to another episode of the HuntLeague podcast. Today, I am sitting with Cody Manzi, who was the winner of the 2023 Spring Turkey League in the app. Today, I had him as one of the judges in the 2024 Spring Turkey League. He had another phenomenal and amazing year. Let's dive in and talk turkey with none other than the 2023 Gobbler King himself. Cody,
Hey,
welcome to the
Andrew.
HuntLeague podcast. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well.
Good, man. All right, today you got to participate with us on the panel. You remember this from last year. What was this experience like going into the league finals for the Spring Turkey League?
It was fun. Last year, I was surprised to even be in the finals. So that was a huge honor, and I had a blast. Getting to talk with the judges panel you had set up last year with Burris and Canebrake Calls. It was a lot of fun. Good time getting to talk with the other candidates as well. But this year, getting to sit on the other side, it's always easier being the interviewer instead of the interviewee.
It is. That is for sure. Last year, was it a surprise to you when your name got called and you got picked by the judges?
Yeah, it was. Because as far as like strictly numbers went, I think Wyatt had me beat by a bird or two. But I think just with the condensity of my season and how efficient I was able to get some birds killed with the newborn and whatnot, I think that helped a little bit with the judges.
I think that was the thing that just pushed over the top. Was like you actually shouldn't have had a spring turkey season last year.
Yeah,
Like just having a baby, and it was like, man, I'm not going to have any time. This is going to be impossible. But the way that you just made the most of the season, it was absolutely phenomenal. And how gracious your wife was to allow you to kind of make your way
absolutely.
out.
I wanted like my goal last year was kill one bird and to be done, and I got it done on the second hunt, I think. And she was like, like I kind of got this handled. Like, go out again. And then I got another bird in the evening, on one hunt. And then she's like, you got one tag left, and there's a couple days left of the season. You might as well go out again.
That's pretty impressive, though, tagging 3 birds in 1 year. So it was very cool. It was you, Wyatt, and Rich from California. Rich was this close to being back in as a finalist. I think the only thing that held him back from not making it as a finalist this year was his season was almost identical to what it was last year. I mean, he had a great season, went to Idaho, got his 2 birds. He hunted his butt off in Southern California, never had a good opportunity. Never, I don't even know if he saw a legal bird. Like it was a brutal year, but it's tough hunting down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know if like we're just waiting for another little thing for him to click. Like, all right, what made that season unique? Because it's not just about who kills the most birds, who kills the biggest birds. It's really about the story. Um,
Yeah. He
and
gets that California bird, and that's going to set him over the top.
it is, and it's like he may not even go to Idaho and get his 2 Idaho birds. It's just like, you guys, I finally got my San Diego turkey, and that might just be
Exactly.
like that's it, man. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
But talk to me about this year, your experience as a judge in the finals. You got to interview your buddy, the guy that kind of
Yep.
introduced you to turkey hunting, and you got to meet a new guy, Jordan Linscomb, who ended up being the champion this year. But tell me a little bit about your experience just in the interview process, what it was like on this side of the table.
Yeah, so and like you said, we had a suspicion that Parator was going to be in the finals, and so my role we weren't sure what my role was going to be, but I wanted to help out and kind of pass it along, getting the honor of being the Turkey King last year. And so, of course, one of the judges was sick, and so like last minute, you're like, "Hey, I've already got you lined up to be on camera. Can you just be a judge for me?" I was like, "Sure." So I hadn't seen the applications. I didn't have questions. So I was like going through like, what did they ask me last year that I thought were really good questions?
You jumped in and handled it like a pro.
Yeah, so it was awesome to hear Jordan's story. I'd heard that there was a pretty funny story about killing a bird, and that the guy in the finals wasn't the one that even pulled the trigger. So it was crazy to hear that whole thing, and I can't believe that all came together for them. Like that's nuts, and definitely a story they're never going to forget.
I know.
And then getting to pick Parator's brain a little bit and making him think about his season, because I'm usually the one thinking when it comes to talking turkeys with him. So
Oh, that's awesome. I thought the way that everything ended. I left the finals and the whole thing today just with a smile ear to ear because I was like, this is exactly what I want our leagues to look and feel like
Mhm.
where it came down to two finalists. Both of them had these insane stories of like hunting with families. Like Cody
Yeah.
had his young son in the blind making noise. You know, you see that video of him like working a
Oh
box
yeah.
call, and it's just like so funny. And
Yeah.
then like Cody was telling the stories of driving in the car and his son like pointing out, "There's a bird in the field. There's a bird, Dad." You know, like all of
Yeah.
that stuff. So both of them had these epic family stories. You know, Cody getting three birds. He had like generational. He hunted with his dad, and the story with
Yep.
his dad was awesome. Like as soon as Cody pulled the trigger and shot the bird, him pulling the trigger spooked his dad, who pulled the trigger and shot
I
Cody's
know.
decoy.
I know. Not the best hunter safety demonstration, but I've had a blast giving Rocky a hard time about that.
Oh man, every time I watch that video, it makes me laugh of him shaking that decoy.
Give the decoy a shake.
I got it.
It is classic. So I look at Cody's season, I'm like, all right, you got the family thing, you got the success thing, you got all these dynamics at play. It was just too good to ignore. And he had already been selected as a finalist for the Western Hunter. And so there was a conversation like, well, if he's already a finalist in one league, should we have
Yep.
him in the Spring Turkey League? And that was a real debate because, like, well, you don't want to have the same person because he's already been in a couple leagues. He's already been, and it's like, is it okay to keep showing the same guy over and over again? But the reality is, who can argue with the stories and with the seasons that guy is putting together?
Yeah. He puts together some phenomenal seasons, and he does a lot of work behind the scenes to make it happen.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience hunting with him, both in Wyoming and your failed turkey hunt experiences of 2024.
Yeah. So I mean, Wyoming was a blast, and I know you've heard the stories from a couple of the different interviews he's already done. But we've been planning it for 3 years to go over there and hunt antelope, and we debated on whether to go this last year or to go this year. Because we both were going to have babies at that point, and he's also had his little guy as well. And we figured, you know what? Like they were going to change the draws and change pricing. We're like, let's go in 23 when everything's the same and we've got a decent shot. And we went with a really low public land unit. And because he works for family, he's able to take some time just during the day when it's slow. And we sat down and we cranked out a letter together, and then he printed off and we sent it to 60 something landowners in this in that unit. Like everybody knew who the two Codys were from Oregon. And managed to get a little bit of access, and didn't need it for his antelope. We found his on the first full day of hunting on public land, and he made a fantastic shot with all the stuff that Nick from Vortex taught him during the on point experience. And then turns out we needed a little bit of that private access for my antelope the next day. We killed it off of a 200-acre chunk. Well, about 30 acres of a 200-acre chunk, after just baking in the sun on the top of a field for about 2 hours, waiting for it to walk closer to us away from a fence line.
Yeah. Dude, so last year, you just talked about like Cody having that opportunity on the on point experience, and he got some training from Nick. It really helped him. I mean, prior to that, he'd never shot beyond 100 yards. And then repeatedly, that dude shot 300 yards, 350 yards, 400 yards, and was putting animals down. I was like, okay, he has gone head over heels with a rifle. But
Oh, absolutely.
let's back up to your story because last year you really made some investments too in your rifle setup for big game, and you kind of got doubled up with Burris. Like Burris has been an incredible partner, like, and they make stuff that I just feel like so many times I feel like Burris is overlooked in conversations where, like you start talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, Vortex, Leupold, and they're mentioning, Night Force, these big brand optics that maybe have more marketing budgets or publicity hype. But I will tell you, like, if I was building a rifle for somebody right now, and I literally just did this, like one of my buddies here, he was like, all right, I'm going to invest and build my dream setup, helped me pick the rifle, helped me pick everything. We debated hardcore between a couple of the Bergara rifles. It was like, all right, do we want that MG Light? Like, it is so freaking awesome. Do we want
Yeah.
the Crest rifle, which Josh Dishman won last year? And Josh has just been like talking that thing up. He's like, dude, 800 yards. And he sent me a picture, of them just blasting like a water bottle, hitting target. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Josh can shoot.
he's insane.
Yeah.
But he set it up with that Bergara rifle, and I was like, it's hard. And he was going back and forth, back and forth. And then we talked about Seekins, and he ended up rolling with the Seekins PH2, which is like, all right, that is on my like dream list, bucket list thing.
Yep.
It's about an $1,800 gun, but it is awesome. Seekins has that lifetime warranty. But then we talked over and over again about different glass options. Ultimately, it was like, all right, this is like buy once, cry once. You're buying an expensive rifle. Let's put the right glass on it and have this set up. And he ended up, we got that Burris Veracity PH. And I don't know, I don't even know if it would be legal to hunt with in Oregon, like, because I think it has a battery in it. um,
Yeah.
but I'm like, man, if you're a hunter hunting the West and you can hunt in a state, and if you read the regulations for Colorado, you would swear like, nope, it wouldn't be legal because it computes and has stuff. But if you talk to Burris, they have a letter from the state saying, nope, this scope is legal in the state of Colorado. So you might check the regs, but that scope is so freaking cool. Like you use your rangefinder, hit it, and as you dial, I mean, it shows you the yardage. You put all your
Oh, nice.
ballistic calculation in, and it just shows you like if you want it to be 412 yards, I mean, just dial, and
Just dial it up.
it's in the display. You don't even have to take your eye out to even look at like what your numbers are and stuff as you dial. Like it is top tier glass. It
Yeah,
is
that's crazy.
it's freaking awesome. But last year you invested in a Burris scope. You
I
didn't
did.
get the Veracity PH, but what scope did you end up going with?
It's the Extreme Two, I believe, two or three, one of the two. I have another buddy, whose dad is a retired sheriff sniper,
Yeah.
and so I told him my budget because I'm balling on a budget with my hunting setup right now, and so I've got a Howa 1500 and 300 Win Mag,
Heck yeah.
and it came with it was like a package scope. So I was like, yeah, for that hunt, I need something better. And so I was like, look, I got like $600. You know, what can I do? So he sent it off to his dad, and his dad did a bunch of search around and just sent me back sent me back to Burris, who I'd only heard of because of the Turkey League. Because in Oregon we got Leupold, we got there's Sig up here and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
And so and then I've used Vortex before, and we sent me that Burris. I was like, oh, I've already got a red dot from them that's super sweet. Like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And I love that scope. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I just think like if somebody looks through a Burris scope, if they feel the turrets, they see how easy it is to set the zero stop, all of that stuff. It's just like Burris is an
Yeah.
awesome, awesome company. I mean, and they've got stuff down to like their the $200 scopes up to
Mm-hmm.
$3,000 scopes, but their
Yeah,
red dots are freaking awesome. You got a red dot last year from
I
them.
did.
How tell me about the turkey package that you won last year and what your real thoughts are about the Burris Fastfire 4, the EAA shotgun that I'm a big fan of. I've got it sitting right next to me. But
Yeah.
tell me your thoughts about the prize package last year.
Yeah. The prize package is awesome. I called in. I loved the calls from Matt. They sent an awesome package. I used one
Yeah.
mouth read. Yeah, used one mouth read this year to kill four turkeys.
Yeah.
And I think with that mouth read, I called in close to 8 or 9 birds total. Um, and so his calls were awesome. They sent a package of like slate and an aluminum call as well. Those were fantastic. Threw them all in my mix, and I was throwing calls out left and right. Always changing it up. The shotgun was great. I had never shot an inertia gun before, so that took a little bit getting used to.
It's different than a gas gun. It is different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I just recently switched my
Oh, it's
duck
just
gun
beautiful.
to a gas gun. I'd been pumped for forever, and so
Which one did you go with on your waterfowl gun?
I picked up a Beretta Outlander
Okay,
300.
that's what I have, the A300, the Outlander. So that's what, yeah, we use. So my son actually uses that gas one uh, when we did our snow goose hunt, and then I still use the 24-inch EAA, and I was like, dude, this thing hasn't failed me. Like I haven't
Yeah,
had any issues with ejecting. I've shot my best round of I won out of a group of like 8 guys, a sporting clay tournament, and they were like, how are you're using a 24-inch gun? Everybody else is like 28, 30
yeah,
inch with like a 2-inch choke extending it out, and I'm like, I don't know, this gun is just awesome. I like it. It does
yeah.
it hits a little harder. Inertia hits
It does kick
harder.
hard. I will say that. Yeah, I did a bunch of research online, and like a whole bunch of people recommend switching out the butt plate.
Yeah, soften that up just a little bit.
Exactly. It does kick a bit for sure. But yeah, no, it was great because up until that, I've been using. I've got a Benelli Supernova, and that was my
Mhm.
everything. I waterfowl hunted with it, ducks, geese, and then I turkey hunted with it. And like it's 8.5 pounds. It's got a 32-inch barrel, so like
Yeah.
I can reach out and get some turkeys if needed. But carrying it around on a 4, 5, 6, 8 mile hike looking for birds, it got old after a while. So
Yeah.
having that nice lightweight gun, that was super short and fit in brush really nice was fantastic this year.
Hey, what did you think? Because the one that I have actually is more of a traditional shotgun. Like you could use it for waterfowl, you could use it for other things. I've used it for rabbit hunting, skeet, trap, clay, sporting clay stuff. And I've just kind of run it through the gambit, like testing it. I wanted to see like how does it handle light loads, how does it handle heavy loads. So I've shot turkey loads. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't shot. I think size 2 is the biggest. I haven't shot like B. Oh no,
Yeah.
BB. I shot that on the snow goose hunt. So I've
Oh,
shot. Yeah, I mean I've shot heavy stuff out of it, and so I've shot everything from light to heavy. I'm not a 3.5-inch guy.
mm-hmm.
Like like when I'm shooting a heavier, like my turkey loads and the snow goose loads, I just did 3-inch. Some
Yeah.
guys love the 3.5. I'm just like I don't
I'm
know.
not even
Like
if I shot them. It just hurts,
that's what
and
I feel.
I don't get the exchange. Some guys love them. I don't see the benefit, so I've gone back to 3. And actually, for waterfowl, I shoot 2 3/4 inch. I pick up the Bosch shot shells. They're
Yeah,
bismuth, the copper plated bismuth,
yeah.
and I shoot 2 3/4 inch shells for those, and have seen no performance issues.
Yeah, that's fancy. Okay, so
Yeah.
Burris red dot. Have you ever used a red dot on top of a shotgun?
No, this was my first season using a red dot. I was using just the bead for a long time, and then for Christmas one year, Cody had got me like a ring that you could line up with the bead. But no, I'd never used a red dot.
What was your thought marrying up a Burris Fastfire 4 with the EAA and using a red dot on a shotgun?
Oh, super simple, and I won't go back. I'm trying to figure out how to mount a red dot on my wife's shotgun so that she has it. Because last year I missed my first turkey ever because I didn't get up against they caught me, and I didn't get up against the cheek well on my shotgun just right, and I shot over and past him, like up and left is the best guess I have.
Yeah,
But with red dots, like as long as the dot's there on his head, like that's where your BBs are going. As long as you got it, decently sighted in.
yeah. Um, One of the cool things about the EAA is this integrated pick rail.
Yeah, it marries right up. It's perfect.
Yeah, there's not another shotgun that I've ever seen that has this level of integration. Like everything else, you have to mount something on top, and then you're stacking your red dot on
Mm-hmm.
top of a pick rail or something like that that's already so it's
Yeah,
lifting. Like the guys at EAA call it like giraffe necking because instead of being down on the gun, you're having to
yeah,
lift your head up to get into that line of sight with the red dot. But uh,
yeah. There's like a couple of defense guns out there that I think you can mount them super low, but you still have to mount that Picatinny rail on there.
Yeah. So I just think the integration of this gun is
Yeah,
just too cool. Um, so you like the red dot combo. You're not going back. You're keeping red dot
no,
on for
even
turkey.
the red dot.
I like that.
Absolutely.
TSS ammo, Remington TSS ammo. Have you ever used that in the past? Have you been a
No,
tungsten guy?
no. Well, I was for a year, and that's actually how I discovered Boss. Nope, theirs is copper as well. So nope, this is the first year I shot tungsten. But
Yeah.
I've upgraded my turkey loads. Because a few years back I was shooting Kent, right? Because they're cheap.
Yep.
They're $10, 10 or like $10 for 10, and super cheap loads, and they had been performing okay. And then we learned more about patterning and stuff like that. I had a bird that I wounded, and as I just narrowed it down to the shell didn't perform like it was supposed to. So I was like, okay, if we're working this hard to find these birds, calling them in, and then the cheapest part of the whole setup is your shell that you're actually using to kill them, something's got to change. So we did a whole bunch of testing, did sighted in and used different chokes, different rounds to figure out what works best. Had shot Boss, which is how I found them, was through their turkey loads, and then Winchester. But this year using the Remingtons, they were fantastic.
Yep, I've used the Winchester, the Super X before, but I've never done fancy turkey loads. I'm still the nitro turkey dude.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, I think this kind of falls in that camp of like I think these are about $15 a box of 10.
Yeah.
Where the tungsten, the TSS, the super steel, I mean that's like, or I don't know if it's super speed or what that is, TSS, but I know it's tungsten super shot. Yeah, like this is a size 4 shot, 3-inch, and this is what I use, and I've never had an issue with it. It patterns well for me. It shoots really good out of that EAA, and I don't have a felt need to double, triple, or quadruple my ammo cost yet.
It is expensive.
It is, but I do know that tungsten. I mean, you're going to a size 7 or a size 9. Do you remember which one you went with? Did you do the 7 or the 9?
I did the 7. I shot 7s before, and so I like that. I had a few years back. I actually switched to shooting the smaller shot size to get more pellets. I forget, it was a podcast, it was the Roost podcast with Sam Soholt and Ben O'Brien, that they were talking about that, and about how really you need one BB or two BBs to make it into the spine. So
get it in the head, the neck.
You have, the better you are.
Yeah, and that's what I mean sets the TSS ammo apart from just about anything. You have a very dense load. You can shoot that and take a turkey. It's 60 yards, which is double. Like I'm kind of like 30 to 40 yards is about where I would kind of put the end of what I would take with this. And this year we pushed it. We shot a turkey. I brought a buddy in from Texas. We went out and he got a bird probably at about 35 yards, which is right at the end. But I mean, shot it, and I mean it was dead on the spot. But he using that red dot, and he was like that turkey was on the move, and he was like that red dot made all the difference in the world, taking a shot at 35 yards with a turkey on the run.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's dive into your season. We're going to move through this pretty quick because I already want to, it's like, all right, we want to kind of finish this up in that 30-minute range. Yeah. So let me know, tell me about this year, because honestly, the season you had this year and the uniqueness of the bird that you were able to harvest, I think it was opening day, would have put you as a finalist again this year. I mean, you just demonstrated that you were a deserving Gobbler King, and you just came out of the gate so hard this year. It was like, if you guys thought you could mess with the king, I still rule and reign on the throne. So tell me a little about your season.
I had a better year this year than I did last year, for sure. Like, I had to beat myself this year. It actually started before turkey season. My dad had a late season elk tag. For our area, there's a lot of agriculture, and a lot of elk hang out on that agriculture. So there's a damage tag that runs for like 6 months or something like that. So he had picked it up. We, of course, put it off, and I tried to get it done in the last like 3 weeks of the season with a farmer that he drives combine for in the summertime and that I used to work for as a longtime neighbor. And so we were hitting up a couple of his properties. And while we were on one of them, I started seeing some birds, and one of them was a unique color, but I seen it at a distance. I thought it was a smoke phase. It was like a white bird, and I was like, I caught it strutting a couple times. I got some cool videos of it while we're out on this elk hunt, and I was like, man, that's where I want to kill that bird. Like, I've never had a hitless turkey before. Like,
that's my bird.
The hit list has been the bird that walks in front of me. But this was like, nope, I'm going to kill this bird. And so talked to the guy, got permission to hunt out there, and I actually set up a ground blind because I wanted to get my wife a bird. I got her into turkey hunting like 2 years ago, and then we got pregnant. And then she had Olive, and so last year she couldn't hunt at all. And my mom also had hip replacement surgery opening day of turkey season. So, and they live like a mile from where we ended up killing this bird. But we didn't have a babysitter that we could drop off, our 1-year-old with at like 5 in the morning. That's a big ask. My parents would have been okay because we were dropping a mile away, and they're old dairy farmers. They're used to getting up early.
Sure.
But she was going in for surgery that morning, so they're out of the equation. So I was like, all right, we are going to do a ground blind, and we're going to have the baby, and we're going to have a wife.
We're gonna have a
we're going to see what happens. Yeah.
Oh
We are going
man.
to see what happens. So set the blind up a couple days before season, and opening day comes around. We get out there. I packed everything: 2 decoys, full shotguns, a couple of chairs for us to sit in, and we just left Olive in her car seat and carried her into the blind because she was asleep. We just set her down in the dark.
Oh man.
And I was pretty sure that the birds didn't even roost on the property. I was right. They roost on the neighbor's place, which is a dairy. He runs his cows up there, and so the grass is a lot shorter. It's more of a pasture as opposed to the grass seed that we were hunting in. So we were set up on the boundary, right on the fence line there, on the edge of the field. I set down a lay down hen, and I have a half strut Jake. And I was like, if anything's gonna pull these toms over, it's gonna be this setup. Because they're gonna get upset at the Jake that they're not familiar with and come
Yep.
over and
Yep.
fight.
Like, who's coming in here to mess with our ladies?
Exactly. And the focus was definitely to get her a bird, because I was going to get to hunt a lot more than she was this year, and so wanted to get her a bird. And we get birds gobbling, and sure enough, they're on the neighbors off to our right, 200-300 yards, just best guess. And start calling a little bit, but fairly soft because we're not mobile. I'm used to being mobile. I'd never hunted out of a ground blind before, and birds start gobbling, and then I can kind of see them through the blackberries, slowly working their way this way. Well, then Olive starts to wake up, and she was fine for a little bit, just chilling in her car seat, but she started to get a little fussy. Okay, well, birds are getting closer, so I pull her out and I have her with me, and she's doing okay. I'm calling every once in a while. I'm also trying to film this thing because why not? Why not make it harder?
Yeah.
And so to get close enough, I can see the two of the birds that are coming in is one just regular, Rio Grande turkey, and then it's this white bird. And so I was like, oh, the white one's coming in, and they're getting closer, and Olive starts to get, and we lose sight of them behind a big blackberry bush, and Olive starts to get even more fussy. And so I have the conversation with my wife. I was like, hey, so do you want to try to kill a turkey? Like, how committed are you to trying to shoot a bird today? Like, I have no problem trying to hold Olive and keep her quiet and just calling and seeing if they're going to come in. It's like, but if you want to kill a bird with her, like, you might need to hold her, and I might need to try and kill one of these things because she's going to stay more quiet with you. And she's like, it'd be super special. Let's just try and get one killed. And so we switched. I hand her the baby. She hands me the shotgun. And we're just kind of waiting. And all of a sudden I hear purring, and these two birds pop out from the blackberries. We had the decoy set up at 20 yards because she's using a 20 gauge. And these two birds pop out at 20 yards at a dead run and beeline straight. And two of them came in and straight for the Jake decoy and just start kicking the crap out of it. And all is being pretty quiet, and these birds are super distracted. I'm not worried about them like running off at all.
Yeah.
And so I get up and I was like, "Are you sure? Like, we can switch right now and you can kill a bird?" And she's like, "No, that's that color one you want. You go ahead and shoot it." I was like, "Are you sure? Like, I am cool switching. I'll come back up here." She's like, "No, go ahead and kill it." So I was like, "Okay," and it separated just a little bit. Boom, just laid it over. Well, the other Tom, the nice thing about turkeys, if they get fired up enough, they stick around. This other top jumps up in the air, turns, lands, gobbles in our direction, and then starts beating up on the hen decoy because he just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he's out of sorts.
Yeah, he's just like, I need to fight something, and there was a loud noise, and I don't know what's going on. And so, baby starts crying. And Bert stuck around though, so I was like, "Here, give me all." So hands, yeah, actually, I think we put her down in between us. That's what we did. We put her on the counter. I had her in the shotgun. I was like, "Okay, shoot."
Oh my gosh. And that's opening day. I mean, that's just amazing. Like, and I'm just telling you, I don't know who would win the contest between you with a 1-year-old infant and your wife arguing about who's going to shoot, not going to shoot, and not really even arguing, but just trying to prefer each other and going through all those dynamics. Yeah. And it's like, if you had to give me what are the odds that you guys would actually score one of these birds, let alone the dream bird that I'll show this video. I mean, it's like, I'm going to give you a 0.001% chance. I'm like, yeah.
I did not expect to kill a turkey that morning. What, no. Not let alone 2. You know, and I had never, like, I've hunted with Parator a lot, and we've killed birds on the same hunt, but we had never doubled. I'd never doubled before. I tried it a couple times, but the bird had never stuck around. You know, instead of doing the 1, 2, 3, everybody pulls the trigger, I try to at least get one killed and then try and call enough to keep the other bird around.
Yep.
But this one just worked out perfect.
That is too fun. I mean, what an epic story. All right. For the sake of time, I'm gonna do one last thing, and I'm gonna throw you under the bus as Cody's friend, because I said, all right, Cody, I don't know that you're qualified or allowed to be a judge on the panel for the Spring Turkey League. We already had ALPS, and there was a reason for that because of your proximity to Cody, the other Cody, Parator. And so when it came down to the finals, I said, all right, here's how we're going to do it. We had 3 judges, and I said, look, you just heard from Jordan. You just heard from Cody Parator. We're going to say Jordan, since he went first, he's number 1 on your finger, and Cody's number 2. And I said, all right, we're going to vote on 3. And I said, before we do this, though, make sure everybody knows what number they're going to choose before we do the vote, so that, because I was like, I know if I just ask, all right, tell me what your opinion is, then it could sway the group opinion. So I was like, I don't want to sway any opinions. So we go and we do the 1, 2, 3, and unanimously, which is never a thing. Like, it's not like a thing inside like the leagues. There's always like a debate and somebody like, I really like this guy. I really like this guy. Well, unanimously, you guys ended up selecting Jordan to pass the crown to. And I was like, and I immediately got onto your case. I was like, Cody, like, I was expecting you. And I was like, I don't know if you just felt the pressure of like, well, I can't vote for him, so I have to vote for the other guy. But ultimately I said, all right, you're passing the crown. You know, the title is in your hands right now. You got to pass it to one of these guys. Why did you select Jordan over your own hunting partner, who is probably going to kick you pretty hard when he hears and sees this? But so what was it about Jordan that said, man, you know what? I really think like I'm going to pass the torch his way over. I mean, do you know how cool I think it would be, even just selfishly, like if you and Cody, like you and your hunting partner are both hunting with the same sick setups with the EAA, the Burris, the Remington. I'm just like, to have matching setups, I'm like, heck yeah, dude, that's the coolest thing ever. But what was it about Jordan that kind of won you over?
Yeah, no, that was definitely a tricky situation, and like there's not a super good outcome either way. But I will say, like, Jordan just didn't get a vote because I was worried about voting for Parator. I did really resonate with his story of this year, and yeah, he wasn't ultimately the one that pulled the trigger, but he found the spot, he did all the calling, all that stuff, and it sounds like, you know, he and his boys have been grinding and trying to get a bird for his son, and just a group bird for a while. And that resonated with me because right after I got introduced to this with the Parators, I started trying to do it on my own, and it was like 6 years before I got a bird on my own without the help of Rocky calling it in and me being the guy that pulled the trigger, you know?
Yeah.
And so that really resonated, that grind and that just staying positive and getting after it year after year is what helped in that decision.
No, I totally get it. And now that you're the Gobbler King, you've gotten 6 birds in the last 2 seasons versus
Seven.
taking 6 years to get a single bird. So,
Yeah, seven because I got ultimately got four this year with Beth Ann's.
oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, bro, congratulations. You did just pass the title, but nobody can ever take the 2023 Gobbler King title from you. You earned
yeah,
that one fair and square, and you have continued to demonstrate why you are an awesome finalist, a candidate, and ultimately the winner of that league. I'm excited to see that torch get passed to Jordan. And see him run with it. And I can't wait like to see what he does. Even like when he gets this, I'm like, all right, this is the first league we've had where the winner of the league didn't actually harvest the species. And I was like, that's
yeah.
it's kind of like a secret, like, but like hopeful dream. It's like when I created this app, it was like I want it to be about the story
Mhm.
of like the season and what transpired. And it was like his story was just so unique and so special and a memory that they will always hold on to. And I'm like, that's what we want to celebrate inside our community, not just, well, I just killed 20 birds or I killed I finished my slam in 6 hours and went to 12 states and just, it's like, I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
I think there are definitely some leagues out there, like Outdoorsman, for example. That one just because of the breadth of it all, and we're looking for that super well-rounded guy. Like that guy needs to be a straight-up killer,
the
right?
man.
But yeah, but for if we're calling him the outdoorsman of the year,
Yeah.
needs to be a killer on top of like being a mentor, being in conservation, like something like the Turkey League, where it's a little bit more niche, a little bit more finite, and like turkey hunting is not as big across the nation. It's definitely big, but not when you compare it to all the other hunting. You can get those guys with just the super cool experience and the super cool story, and that gives the states that don't get the opportunity to have 3 tags. If it's just based on numbers, like Texas is going to smoke us all. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Just an unlimited number of birds year round. Like it's
yeah,
like,
exactly. Like they can kill a bunch of birds if you travel all around Texas. And so it gives those guys in the states where you have to draw a tag, or maybe you can only kill a turkey because, like, that whole southeast, their turkey populations are starting to struggle and they're starting to cut tags.
yep.
Well, those guys can still have a really good shot if they have a super unique experience, or they fill their 1 or 2 tags, and then they can help a couple more people, get birds.
Yep. I mean, this year it took one bird, and it wasn't even the guy that shot the bird who ended up
Mm-hmm.
winning. And I absolutely
Yeah,
love the story. I am going to be interested to know legally his son Bear can't win this prize package because it's like,
yeah,
well, you can't send a gun to a 14-year-old.
yeah.
But I
Nope.
do wonder if Jordan will reserve this gun once he has it to be
Yeah,
like, all right, when Bear, is it Jordan's gun or does it end up becoming Bear's gun
yeah.
down the road? All right, last question. Uh, I had the traditional grip or traditional style stock. I was going to say this earlier. You chose the pistol grip. How have you liked having the pistol grip option for your turkey gun compared to a more traditional, just where you reach over? What do you think about pistol grip? No pistol grip? Do you regret pistol
I
grip?
went with the pistol grip. It's the first one that I've had, and I really liked it this year. It did take some getting used to just on top of the inertia gun, because those
Yeah.
inertia guns, as you got to hold super tight to your shoulder so that they can cycle. And where I went wrong the first time I shot is I was trying to get my red dot all dialed in. So I wasn't using nice turkey loads. I was using like, skeet loads, which really aren't tough enough. They don't kick hard enough to cycle those guns well.
Okay.
And then with the pistol grip,
And is
you
that
kind of
did you settle into that with the inertia? Like, did you figure out how to shoot lighter loads with it, or did you still struggle with
I
it?
did finally, and it was because I realized what was going on, and then with that pistol grip, you kind of almost naturally want to push it away from you a little bit because,
Oh, yeah,
like
it
a regular
absorbs
shotgun, when you're holding it, you have to pull it in, but with that pistol grip, like you shoot a pistol pushing out, right?
totally.
And so you want to push it out a little bit. So I had to train myself to use that to pull it into my shoulder. And then with those light loads, it cycled fine. Obviously, the heavy loads, it has no problem.
Yeah, because I haven't had any cycle issues at all.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've shot literally hundreds of rounds through it over the last year. I mean, you buy a whole case for those snow goose hunts, and then doing
Oh
sporting clays, you're shooting 100 rounds plus in a day. It's like, I mean, I've shot a lot with it and haven't had any cycle issues, even with the lighter stuff. I mean, I was shooting some really light, 1100 feet per second, number 8, number 9 kind of shot on some of the target stuff and with kids, and haven't had any issues. But that's actually an interesting kind of thing about the pistol grip, because Jordan, I asked him, all right, what option would you like? And I still think, like, for a turkey gun that's turkey specific, it's like I would want that pistol grip, because I do think, like, inside a blind or coming around a corner, like if you have
yeah,
any kind of off angle, you've got that
yeah.
red
It did,
dot and a
it made
pistol grip.
pivoting the gun very easy, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap
But
it up,
real quick,
brother. Yeah. Hit me.
on the
Hit me.
weird bird that I killed, right? So I kind of set it out into the ether, like, hey, who knows? Because it didn't end up being a smoky phase or smoke phase.
Yeah.
So it was red, which I wasn't expecting. So I kind of sent it out into the ether on Facebook to see who had ideas. I did my own research online, contacted ODF and W, and then ultimately contacted Mike Chamberlain, the wild turkey doc. Like, he's the guy for wild turkeys.
Yeah.
And it is one, nobody knows what it is unless you like genetically tested it, but it's one of 3 things. It is either a sweetgrass turkey. This is a guy of Lapine told me this, which is a super rare heritage breed.
Okay.
Apparently there's a flock that runs around the Lapine area, and so he sees them all the time.
Wait, is it
Mike,
sweetgrass? Is it its own unique kind of like subspecies? Because I've never even heard of that. Or is it just like a
it's
odd
just
genetic
yeah,
in that area?
it's a kind of a subspecies. Yeah, it would be a subspecies, but it's a heritage breed, so it's like a really old world, kind of like yard bird livestock breed. But they are known to assimilate with wild flocks, and this bird had been running that area for at least 2 years, according to the farmer whose land I was on, because he'd first seen it 2 years ago, and it was running around with a wild flock of birds.
Yeah.
Mike Chamberlain thought, just based off of pictures and stuff, that it might have been a fall fire, which is another one of those rare heritage breeds that people will use to breed sweetgrass turkeys. So they're kind of the same.
Okay.
But
Almost like a little hybrid thing.
Yeah. And then ODF and W sent them all the pictures. They thought it might have been a red color phase, because there are a few running around, but nobody knows for sure. But it's something like that.
Something incredibly unique that you will probably never in your lifetime have another opportunity to even see.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, still, even if it ends up being, the heritage, it wasn't a yard bird. Like, that was a wild turkey at this point.
Yeah.
Still very happy to have taken it down.
That is so dang cool. Well, thanks for jumping in and sharing that. I'm glad you actually shared that, because now that makes me want to go and research those other types of subspecies, just to kind of, I mean, I don't even know if like subspecies is the right word, but a heritage breed or whatever, like that's just pretty dang fun.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, awesome having you on the HuntLeague podcast. Always love connecting, hearing your stories. Congratulations on an epic year and getting that color phase bird. I mean, truly, if you hadn't already had the title, like, I don't know, it's like we haven't made a rule yet. Like, can you win back-to-back titles? Can you even win a second title in the same league, or is it just best to like let somebody else win it? Anyway, I definitely appreciate you spending time tonight, sharing the story of your season. Thank you for jumping on the judges panel and, being a part of helping crown the 2024 champion, Jordan Linscomb. So thanks again, Cody. Love having you on the HuntLeague podcast.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good talking with you.